What's up everybody, Untitled here bringing you Abusement Park's first official video. This video is a guide on how you can kill spiritual mages. Spiritual mages are useful for dropping dragon boots. This video will explain what spiritual mages are, the requirements that you need to kill them, how you can get to spiritual mages, and how you can kill them effectively on a single inventory. So if you're ready to learn this useful information, stay tuned and watch the rest of this video. Spiritual mages are a slayer monster in Arios that require 83 slayer to kill. This makes them the third highest requirement for any slayer monster in game, succeeded only by Abyssal Demons at 85 slayer and Dark Beasts at 90 slayer. Spiritual mages are found within the God Wars dungeon and belong to each faction. As such, they are found in every faction's area. Their hit points vary from 75 to 106 depending on the faction of spiritual mages you are killing. Their slayer XP ranges accordingly from 562.5 to 795 slayer XP per kill. This is including Arios' 7.5 times XP rate. The HP and Slayer XP vary because their combat levels range from 120 to 123, again dependent on the faction. Spiritual mages will always use magic and can hit up to 15 or as high as 20, again dependent on the faction, so 37 prayer and protect from magic is an absolute must when fighting them. Their only weaknesses are ranged and slash based melee attacks. However, they have incredibly low defense, so any combat style besides magic is effective against them. Their notable drops include various runes dropping at different rates depending on the level of the rune. Level 3 or hard clue scrolls also drop from spiritual mages and have a 1 in 128 chance to drop. Finally, the renowned dragon boots are another notable drop which also drop at a 1 in 128 chance. It is worth noting that a 1 in 128 chance does not mean that the boots or a clue scroll will drop in every 128 kills. It does mean, however, that there is a chance in every 128 kills that one will drop, and it is likely. However, it is worth remembering that you could go 1000 kills without receiving a single clue scroll or a pair of dragon boots. However, you may get 1 in 10 kills. Now we know what spiritual mages are, it's time to discuss what to wear when fighting them. The main thing to consider when choosing your gear is that you'll want to keep your prayer bonus pretty high. This is because you will keep Protect from Magic active the entire time you're fighting them, so defensive stats not really come into play. Here I've included two builds, one for pures and one for mains. I will discuss them both now. For mains, your head slot is going to want to consist of a black mask. This is primarily because when fighting spiritual mages, if they're your slayer task, which they should be, you will receive a 15% attack and strength bonus against them. If you don't have a black mask or you do not have spiritual mages as your slayer task, you should choose a berserker helm for the plus 3 strength bonus that it provides. In your next slot you're going to want a god stole. God stoles provide a plus 12 prayer bonus, which is more than any other next slot item in the entire game. Also, you should have a Zamorak one because this guide follows Zamorak spiritual mages, and so you'll be protected from other Zamorak followers. If you cannot afford a god stole, you should choose an Amulet of Glory for the minor offensive bonuses and the prayer bonus that it provides. Please remember, however, that you will need a Zamorak item or a god item of some description to stop you from being attacked by other followers in the area. Your back item is going to want to be a god cloak. I personally don't have one, so you can see in the screenshots I provided that I've used a strength cape. This is because the trim strength cape still provides a plus 4 strength bonus, which is slightly more than the god cloak, but does not provide immunity from any monsters within the god ward areas. The main hand weapon is undoubtedly the Abyssal Whip. It is singly the best one-handed weapon in the game, and so should be chosen over every other single weapon possible, unless of course you're choosing to range, in which case this guide is probably not for you. In your offhand, you're going to want a Rune Defender. Again, I do not have one of these, so I've chosen an Obsidian Shield purely because it gives exactly the same strength bonus, but with no offensive bonus. It instead provides defensive bonus, but as previously stated, that is not too useful here. Your body and your legs are going to want to be proselyte, no questions asked. Proselyte is much better than monk robes in that it gives defensive bonuses which aren't useful, but it also provides an extra prayer bonus on top of them, so they're much more useful than monk robes. If you cannot get hold of proselyte or your defense is not high enough for whatever reason, then monk robes are the next best option. In your hand you're going to want Barrow's gloves. They don't provide any prayer bonus, or at least very little, but they are single-handedly the best gloves in the game for offensive bonuses. They top every other item in the game, including combat bracelet. If you cannot get Barrow's gloves, then combat bracelet is your next best option. For your feet, you're going to want dragon boots. Ironically, that is what you're here for, so you may not have them, and if you don't, rune boots are the next best option. This is of course assuming that you've got Chorheim teleport to get here, otherwise you're going to want climbing boots to climb over all the rocks. In your finger slot, you're going to want Ring of Wealth, just to provide any extra drops while you're there. Ring of Life is an alternative in case you worry about dying. I wouldn't advise bringing Berserker Ring because it doesn't provide much of a bonus, especially not enough to warrant it risking 4 mil at God Wars. Similarly to mains, Pures are going to want a massive prayer bonus too. Unfortunately, they cannot wield the Black Mask because they have no defense, or at least very little, in which case you're going to want a God Meter. The meteors provide a nice prayer bonus to your head slot and also give you immunity against some God Wars NPCs. If you cannot afford one, or you do not have one, or you do not have the prayer level for one, then the skill cape hood is the next best option. In your next slot you're going to want a God stole. Try and mix it up a bit and have different God items in different slots, because it means you'll receive more immunity from different NPCs in the God Wars dungeon. If you cannot afford a God stole, then an Unholy Amulet will do. It gives a nice prayer bonus and still provides immunity against Zamorak NPCs, which is useful for this specific guide. In your back slot again, a God cloak or a skill cape. If you're not sure of the reasons, please refer to the main section. In your main hand, again an Absol Whip. I understand that for pures this may not be an option, so Dragon Scimitar is definitely the next best alternative. In your offhand you want an Unholy Book, or a Book of Balance. In this time this video is making, neither of these items are available in Arios, but I've chosen to include them anyway because somebody watching this at a later date and they may be available, and they are definitely the best options for pures. The body and legs you're going to want Monk Robes. Hands down. Monk Robes, like Proselyte for mains, are the best option for pure for prayer bonus. If you cannot get hold of them, then you can refer to Shade Robes, but Shade Robes are much harder to obtain than Monk Robes are and so shouldn't be chosen over them. In your feet you want Climbing Boots. Definitely the best boots a pure can wear. Also, if you can't teleport to Trollheim, which most pures probably won't be able to, then climbing boots are going to be needed to climb over the obstacles. In the ring slot, exactly the same, a Ring of Wealth or a Ring of Life. So, now we know what we're fighting and what gear we're wearing to fight them with. Next is what we should fill our inventory with to prepare ourselves. First and foremost, a special attack weapon, and I've chosen a Dragon Dagger. It's cheap and it's good, that's all you need to know. You could also take Granite Maul, God Sword if you have one, anything like that, but for me the Dragon Dagger gets the job done. As well as that, because of the low defense of the Spiritual Mages, you're almost guaranteed a good hit every time. Next, you're going to want an attack buffing potion and a strength buffing potion. Preferably super, they just provide a nice bonus while you're there, and you could take 2 of each, where I've only chosen to take 1 if you intend on having a longer trip. After that, you're going to want teleport runes, to Trollheim no less. If you're not going to teleport to Trollheim, you're going to be walking, 2 lobsters in case you take a bit of damage along the way, never hurts. I've chosen to take 8 of each rune because it provides 4 teleports just in case. Simply, you're just going to fill the rest of your inventory with either prayer potions or super restore. I've chosen super restore because they restore more than prayer potions do, but you can take either depending on what's on your budget. Well, now we know what we're killing and what we're using to kill them. Even what we're going to take with us to kill them. What we don't know is how we're going to get to them. Let me explain to you. If you're going to be walking from Berthorpe, this part is for you. If you're going to be teleporting, skip forward ahead a little bit. Firstly, you need to climb up Death Plateau, and how you're going to do that is from Berthorpe. To get to Berthorpe, you can have a teleport using a Games Necklace, teleport to the Warriors Guild using a Combat Bracelet, or teleport to Falador and run through Tabli. Once you're at Berthorpe, head northwest and to the Sherpa's Hut. You can see a little diagram showing you how to get there. Once you're at the Sherpa's Hut, you go over this back fence and follow until you come to a north exit. Once you're there, climb over the rocks. Again, the diagram illustrates. Once you've climbed over the rocks, head east a little. You come to the Dad area in a Troll Stronghold quest. Head north a little bit more, and finally a little bit west, and you'll come to a cave. Before heading into this cave, I advise you to protect from melee because there are some relatively high level trolls that will deal damage if you're not wearing good defense bonus gear, and if you're pure, you don't have the option to. If you're main, you're probably wearing Proselyte as I instructed. So either way, it's better safe than sorry. Now, if you've teleported to Trollheim, you're only just joining us. If you're walking, you'll see where you are now using the key to the bottom right. If you've been walking, you need to run north, and keep doing so until you see a little northern exit. This is the entrance to the God Wars dungeon. Once you reach the red area, or thereabouts, you need to protect from range. This is regardless of where you've come from. These trolls will deal damage, and a lot of it, in quick succession, and it's multi-combat area to top it all off. So if you've teleported here, you'll see that you're at the purple dot. If you've got climbing boots, you can use your shortcuts and climb down. If you don't, I'm afraid you're walking around. Either way, it's a lot quicker. Once you've reached the entrance to the God Wars dungeon, you move the boulder out of the way, and this is going to require 60 strength. Run north, past some wolves, and finally you see the entrance to the God Wars dungeon. You must remember that if this is your first time visiting God Wars, you will need a rope. Otherwise, you'll not be able to gain access. The rope is only needed the first time, and will remain there any time you visit after. Okay, so now we're inside the God Wars dungeon. If you're this far and you haven't played Magic, you're dead. As soon as you enter, there are a lot of mages, primarily Sabdamin ones, and they deal a lot of damage. So you pray Magic now. I advise you to watch this far into the video before entering the dungeon, or as I said, you're dead. So as soon as you enter the dungeon, you pray Magic. Things get a little bit hectic, so it's best to just get out of the way as soon as possible. What you're going to want to do is run north, a little bit east, and you'll come to a little ice bridge. Click the bridge, and you'll go over to the other side. This is going to require 70 hit points. If you don't have this, I'm afraid you can't do so. You can, however, go to a different area of God Wars, such as Bandos that requires 70 strength, Armada which requires 70 range, or Saradomi which requires 70 agility. The Zamorak part however requires 70 hit points firm. If you've made it to the other side, you'll reach the blue area. This is where I personally kill my spiritual mages. There's a spawn of about 2 or 3 and they respawn fairly quickly. I find it a nice spot. And that's it! You now know all there is to killing spiritual mages inside God Wards to your heart's content, effectively turning you into a one-man first world sweatshop factory for dragon boots. I hope you enjoyed my guide. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe if you liked what you saw, and please share my video to anyone who you think would benefit from it. That's enough from me inside Sin at the Abusement Park, and I'll see you again next time.